This movie is so bananas. Oh my god.
Magic dance.
Smell.
All right. Do we want to go? Welcome back to the big room. We watched Labyrinth. We magic danced all the way through this movie. Carl watched it 100 times. How many times did you watch it?
Probably 5 times. I don't know.
Oh, 5 times.
Oh my god.
5 magic times. Oh man, what a film, huh? We got to look at David Bowie's Bulge for 2 hours.
David Bulgy.
David Bulgy.
David Bulgy.
Yeah, really, 300, and then we had a bulge break for Singing in the Rain.
Thank God.
And then we got to look at David Bowie's Tiny One for a whole freaking movie. That dude is in yoga pants
And heels.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Maybe don't shout out to him.
With respect, yeah.
Yeah.
He was fine.
He was fine in the
David
movie.
What? No, I just meant in general because you said he died. So.
Well, I mean, he's not alive, so that narrows it down. He's dead. Yeah. You thought he... Never mind. There was some mystery over what he died from. She did not think it was cancer. Let's just put it that way. So...
Wait, what did she think it was?
She thought it was AIDS, you guys.
I thought he was gay.
Well, he is an alien. He's not a human being.
He was a star boy?
He's a...
Ziggy
Wait.
Stardust?
What?
No, that's
Starboy's The Weeknd.
The Weeknd. What is... Doesn't he have an album called Star
Ziggy
something?
Stardust. Yeah.
Ziggy Stardust?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's close.
He's got, that's
We
the
could
star,
be
the little
heroes.
light bulb.
Yeah.
Just for one day.
He's got a... She was making fun of me because I was doing a Bowie during the movie, and she's like, your Bowie and your John Travolta are like this far apart.
All of your accents are that far from John Travolta.
My British is just like, oh, Sandy. In it. So this is the most... Is this the most 80s movie we've seen, or is that
yeah.
Roadhouse?
Oh.
No.
This
No.
is a different kind of 80s. I don't know.
This is, Roadhouse was like campy, like muscle.
Roadhouse was young
muscle.
adult 80s.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
like child 80s.
But also like synth,
Like the synth guitars in this movie alone.
the synth guitars. Yep.
Is that how you say that?
Synths. I guess synth can be any instrument. There's a lot of synth keys in this.
Okay.
And just
whatever it was, the 80s, like...
what I remember from 80s music in particular is horrendous drum sounds.
Okay.
I will not...
I don't know what instrument it was, but they were all terrible.
Like, it really pulls me out of
That's what I
even
know.
like Michael Jackson songs. Just the horrendous, like, digital drum. No, not
yeah, the program drums.
the program
Yeah.
drums. I just really...
Shallow sound.
It's just, I don't like it. When did this movie come out? 86?
Okay.
1986. We were -9.
Yes, we
Her
were.
and I were.
Something like that.
Carl was 40.
Yeah, I've always been 30.
So the movie involves, just for a plot synopsis, 16-year-old Sarah is given 13 hours to solve a labyrinth, which I thought was going to be like, you know, those mazes that are like bushes?
Yeah.
And then we got closer and it was a wall. It confused me.
A labyrinth can be anything. Don't put a labyrinth in a box.
All right. Well, she
You
wishes
have
for,
to, though.
She,
That's how they work.
she wishes for her brother Toby to be taken by a... Well, she's like, I'm confused. It's a little interesting. She's reading a book or to study for a play that she's in. But
I didn't even know she was in a play. I thought she
Yeah,
was
She
just
just
kind of...
likes the book.
I thought she was like...
I thought she was
practicing.
being
I don't know that
escapist.
she was
I
ever
think she's just like...
actually in anything.
Maybe I
love
made
this
that up. Well, at any rate, she's reading the book Labyrinth, right?
Yes.
In the movie Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So she's reading lines about the Goblin King to her brother from a book that's in the movie. So we got all that?
Yeah. Did you get that right?
With tracking.
And anyway, the Goblin King's real, and it's David Bowie. And his name is Goblin King Jareth, which is a hilarious name. Jareth. And he takes Toby, and the plan for Toby is to turn him into a goblin?
Yeah, after what, 13 hours?
13 hours.
He'll turn into a goblin forever.
Yeah.
That was a terrible accent.
But the goblins look like they're having a banging time.
Yeah.
They really do, though. They don't.
It wouldn't
look
be the end of the
stressed.
world.
No.
Yeah.
Toby might have been better off.
You know, he
Yeah.
wouldn't have had to get a job.
Yeah, he just would have danced magic danced his life away.
Yeah.
And
And he
jump
wouldn't have
magic
had
jumped.
to hang out with his really annoying bratty sister.
I know. Is Sarah
She's
the
a-
villain?
Yeah.
No.
She's a real piece of work.
Did we watch this movie wrong?
I have heard theories that Jareth was actually the good guy because he did what she asked her to do. He took the baby away, and
Here's
yeah.
what I here.
He was
Okay,
villainized.
here's my thing. Why didn't when she said, "I wish for the goblins to come get him"? Why didn't she just then go, "I wish you would bring him back"?
Well, that wasn't in the book.
well, that's not how it works.
That
not-
wasn't in the book.
No, that's not in the rules.
But if it was like whatever you could wish,
Because it wasn't that because when she's doing it right, there's like that goblin.
Yeah, they're like, say the right words.
say the right
Yeah.
thing. Do you remember the goblins?
oh, I just assumed she had to say like the special like "I wish" phrase.
Well, that was the only part she forgot, I think.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like there was
Did she say it?
yeah, like that's not it. A lot of big names tied to this movie, which was shocking to me. Like in the pre-roll credits.
Mm-hmm.
Still a big fan of pre-roll credits.
Oh my god, I hate
Still
them.
not a fan.
Literally, one of my notes is like, "Thank God we don't do pre-roll credits anymore."
I like them. Lucasfilm tied to this movie. David Bowie, obviously. Frank Oz, who was the voice of and the puppeteer for Yoda in the original Star Wars trilogy. And Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets. So this is, I guess, I feel like it's considered a Jim Henson film, like that he's the guy, right?
I think so.
And I haven't seen my Muppet exposure is limited. I've seen one of the newer movies from like the mid 2000s or whatever. We've got one of the 70s movies in the bucket somewhere. It'd be amazing if we pulled it right after this. Could you imagine
Yeah.
going from Labyrinth to the Muppet movie?
Can't imagine.
Gosh,
It's a world I don't want to live in.
what?
We should be so lucky.
You're not excited for the Muppets?
No, I'm not.
Did this sour you on
I've
Jim
never
Henson?
been sweet on the Muppets. So
Well, have you ever been
can't turn
have you ever been
sour.
exposed to the Muppets? First they're sour, then they're sweet. Are you gonna Sour Patch Kids us on the Muppets?
Maybe.
She's just like, I don't think it's funny. I would have expected a Lucasfilm. Oh, why would I have expected a Lucasfilm tied film to be better? That's this is the Jar Jar Binks of movies.
Look at that.
Maybe.
Oh god. This era of Lucasfilm, you definitely should have expected to be better.
Well, this is a gap between, I think this is 5 or 6 years after Return of the Jedi. So it's not that far
I didn't think to
removed.
look that up. It was 9 years after A New Hope, is what I know.
Wow.
So-
I think
Whatever
Return of the
math that
Jedi was
is.
80. Ooh, I might be wrong. I feel like it's 82. I'm going to look it up right now. Please hold. Talk about yourself.
Guys, I want you to know that right now there's a random puppy outside my door.
Yeah.
No
I don't
way.
know whose it is.
Take a
80
pic.
And there's no owner
83.
with it.
All right, so you were close.
I was
just
off by
here.
a year.
You're close.
So 3 years after Return of the Jedi, we got the masterpiece of Labyrinth. Let's go into expectations, and I'll start because it's my fault we watched this
It
movie.
is your fault.
So the bucket,
lot.
right? The list that was a list before it was a podcast. This was on it, on the list because of Harmontown, which is my favorite podcast. Is the first podcast I ever listened to, ever. Really, I wasn't big into podcasts until Harmontown, and early on in the show, Dan Harmon's girlfriend at the time, later wife, current ex-wife, Erin McGathy. This is like one of her childhood movies, I guess. I need to go back and listen to the episodes, but they did a holiday. They did a Halloween show, and all of them and all of the 4 of them and several of the audience dressed up as like 15 Jareths, and all raided a bar afterwards. And it was hilarious. And they played the Labyrinth, one of the Labyrinth songs. I pointed it out when we were watching it, but I can't for the life of me remember
Yeah, I can't
during which scene. After she eats the peach, I think.
Oh, at the ballroom.
No, before that, in the woods.
Oh.
Like right when she eats it. I think whatever that song is, they played during like Harmontown D&D and stuff.
Oh, I remember now.
So because of just that, I'd always wanted to watch Labyrinth, because, Jeff Davis spent not to spend a whole podcast talking about a podcast, but he sang the Dance Magic Dance song a lot. Anyway, that's why movie's on here. I knew really nothing about it. except for Jareth and how he looked.
And then
So outside of
people-
Aaron, did they like the movie, or what was their
I
take?
can't remember. I feel like the consensus was you like this movie because you watched it as a kid.
Yep.
And so you have like a stronger tie than like we, at least the two of us, I don't know how y'all feel yet, ever had a chance to like this movie, right? Like if you didn't see it as a kid in the 80s.
This is hot as the sun.
Oh,
She's sick, so we've got tea.
what you drinking over there?
Tea. Yeah, what kind of weird tea are you burning your mouth with?
Excuse me.
And we're back. How was scalding your mouth?
It was really fun.
Okay, I don't
10
remember.
out of 10 would recommend.
So we were talking about did Harmontown like it? I don't remember. Moving on.
yeah.
Any other expectations from any of you? Had you?
I expected to not like it because I remember being like at a Blockbuster, and this was one of the covers of movies that I would like look at and be like, that movie looks weird. And that was my only expectation is like, this movie looks weird.
You saw David Bowie's awesome hair on the cover, and we're like, this looks weird.
Yeah.
His hair is so
All the puppets.
so cool.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
What about either of you two, Nick or Carl?
I knew nothing about it, per usual. I actually watched it with my brother-in-law, who grew up watching it and was a huge fan, is a huge fan of it.
Interesting.
Which I'm really glad I watched it because he paused it a couple times and was like, when I was young, this scene made me feel this way. And I'm just going, that's insane. And it's like, you only feel like the only shot, I don't want to spoil my review here, but the only shot of like actually enjoying this movie was growing up with it. What you were saying earlier.
That's
so it was cool. It was cool to watch it with him and hear his thoughts. But yeah, I didn't have any expectations going in. Didn't even know what it was about.
Carl, had you heard of it at all?
I think I'd heard of it, but I'd also heard of like Pan's Labyrinth, so I got those kind of mixed up in my head and some amalgamation. So I thought this was going to have the hands guy with David Bowie.
She said.
So I didn't know.
There were hands.
Yeah, there were hands, helping hands, but so I didn't really know what
Oh my
to expect.
God,
I
the
just knew it was
hands.
going to be an older kind of weird movie. And it delivered.
I actually, not to go again, I don't need a second turn, but I expected it to be I didn't know it was a kid's movie.
Really?
Yeah. I had no
surprising.
idea it was a kid's movie. I thought it was going to be like more, maybe not adult, but adolescent and weird.
Gotcha.
Like more aggressively weird, like maybe creepy or disturbing and not a kid's movie. So it was actually not what I had anticipated.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about the film a little bit. I want to talk about the owl, which Carl says in our notes holds up. And Nick has a fact that I almost stole and got reprimanded before the show started.
I'm not letting you steal this one. This is a cool fact, and I thought no one else would have it.
It's on the IMDb page.
So, whatever. Yeah,
That's where I read
I'm
it.
reading from a website here too,
Yeah.
like as if you don't have the internet.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, you are the fact guy, though.
So most of the visual effects were impressively achieved in front of the camera, but one does boast of a CGI milestone, and that's the owl that appears at the beginning of the movie, which is widely regarded as the first realistic CGI animal to appear on the big screen.
Yep,
It was like the first CGI animal ever.
the first religious animal to appear on the screen.
Religious. You should have stolen the fact, man.
Yeah, I know.
I butchered it.
Well, hey, first realistic animal in CGI on a film screen. I thought it looked better the first time we saw it, and then we saw it later in the movie, and it looked like crap.
You know what it looks like is that a Bug's Life bird that they make to like scare Hopper.
Yeah.
You can see like the hinges and the wings and all
The
that.
little
but
ants in there
it's-
going,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what a good movie. We watched
Hopper's
that.
afraid of birds. Yeah.
Never seen it.
What?
What?
You've
That's
never seen a
insane.
Bug's Life?
Dude, you don't act that shy.
Okay.
On the podcast
That's
where
the only
none of us have
reason we're
seen any
doing
movies.
this show right now.
So when I was a kid, my really three movies were A Bug's Life and the first
Yep.
two Toy Story films.
Yep.
Those Carl and I had the
good.
same
Yeah.
life.
I had like the first. I mean, this one's. I had the first one like memorized, and I had all
Yeah.
the toys, and I would act them out like line for line.
Oh, dude, you are a toy.
And they never got me tested for any kind of mental illness.
Oh my god, dude, A Bug's Life. We watched it last year.
I feel like we were sick.
We were sick with COVID, I think.
Yeah.
We watched it, and it holds up. It's a good movie.
We watched Toy Story.
Dude, the
too.
graphics still look good.
Toy Story was
Dude.
the
Like,
first Pixar
yeah.
movie, right? And that
Yes.
I think that just it holds up so
Yeah.
well.
It does.
God, Nick, we've got to do.
It was
we
so
gotta-
fresh.
We got to burn.
You've
this
seen Toy Story,
popcorn
right,
bucket.
Nick?
Have you seen Toy Story?
Oh yeah, I've seen all. Of them.
Okay.
All
Okay,
two
good.
of them.
I don't know how many there are. So
There's
I know there's
four,
3, and then
but
maybe there's 4.
three.
Okay,
Yeah, the
well.
fourth one I
4,
heard is-
maybe 5 coming.
Oh God,
No.
There's a
I
new one coming.
Just stop.
I was told.
Is it going to be about Woody as the real cowboy?
Um.
Didn't they learn their lesson?
Yeah. I was told to not watch the fourth one. As an adult, like they're like it's literally like it's moved on. Whatever. This isn't a Toy Story podcast, but we've got to
Yeah.
get Nick at some Pixar movies next year for real. Maybe we can
Yeah.
do a Pixar month or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Like what? Have you seen The Incredibles? Ooh.
I know I have.
No.
Oh, dude.
I know I have. I don't remember anything about it.
Oh, dude. That might be my favorite
It's another
Pixar
really
movie.
good one. I haven't
I
seen
was
the
probably
second
like,
one.
this isn't
Me either.
Bible, man.
I don't want to see.
I liked the second one.
I don't want to see it though because I love the first one so much, and I didn't want more. So I'm just not.
Right.
I'm not gonna see.
I don't think
You know
it
what I mean?
ruins it though.
Yeah, but I've been burned by Star Wars and Toy Story,
You're
and
right.
so I'm just gonna let.
I've only heard good things about the second Incredibles.
I know,
though.
I know, but I want to let the first movie be perfect.
Yeah.
Forever.
Well, it still is. Even if the other one sucks.
That's true.
It just makes the first one better.
That's true.
Anyway, you watched a movie called Labyrinth?
yeah, we watched a movie called Labyrinth. David Bowie's in it.
What movie are we talking about?
So we talked about her getting her brother stolen by David Bowie, the most aggressively 80s man we've ever seen in our lives, with a codpiece, which is distracting.
She's wearing the silkiest pants, dude.
Yeah.
Shows everything.
It's so hilarious. And then
Thinnest
he's
leggings.
just, he does all the music for the movie, which is a choice.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, man. I've expressed
One of my notes is
disdain
literally,
for-
why would David Bowie want to do this?
Right? I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, what is he gaining?
Because I was
from
like,
this?
this is kind of an odd choice, but I was like, well, he's also like an odd guy, so maybe that's an expected choice now.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Or was his manager like, we got to get
Was
in
it
that
financial?
kid market?
Yeah, like
we
was he
got to
just
get
trying?
those,
Yeah,
those kids spinning David Bowie cassettes.
yeah. Is it like the cigarette strategy,
to
get him
look up.
young?
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. I don't know.
I meant to look up and see if he had done any other movies. Did he? Do you guys know if he did any outside of this? Because I don't feel like I've heard of
I
any.
don't
Well, I
know.
mentioned he was in Zoolander last one, but other than that, I don't think he's done anything. But he's
Okay.
like just a small part in that. He's not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think David
And he plays
Bowie
himself.
is just Hugh Grant's alter ego. Because they kind of sound very similar.
Whoa.
That's a take.
And they kind of have similar.
And they kind of look a little similar.
Yeah.
They do.
So I feel like they're
We've never
just-
seen them both in the same room at the same time.
I don't know. Have you?
Man. Hugh Grant. Didn't I
David
say
Bowie
David Bowie
is
looks like
Welcome to the
somebody?
big
Confirmed.
conspiracy.
Yeah, one of our friends.
Okay,
I'm not gonna
we're not
say
gonna
it
say
on
that.
air 'cause
Conspiracy
it was
room.
offensive.
Wait, what?
No, never
The
mind.
conspiracy.
All
room.
right. Conspiracy room.
Yeah, the conspiracy.
The
room.
next conspiracy.
The
I
kid
just
gets
hijacked
stolen.
Carl's
They end
joke.
up in a labyrinth, and I thought the labyrinth would be. I guess we got some good set pieces, like the hands. The helping hands thing was cool.
Oh my, it's so creepy.
I thought the
I
set
don't know that
design
I'd use
was
the word
great.
cool.
No, they were, but again, I thought it was going to be darker. I guess going in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was. I don't know. I just expected a different movie. I guess. The Hoggle being just the worst guy. Hoggle's the worst guy.
Yeah, he was pretty bad.
He's playing both sides of the fence.
The whole movie. I guess
Um.
until the very end.
Well, yeah. I guess. Well, he has an arc because he didn't want to do the peach thing.
Well, so did Rick Blaine, right?
Who?
Rick Blaine, Casablanca.
Thank you.
And he was a hero.
Ugh.
That's true. That's true.
Can we not?
Labyrinth is Casablanca.
It's also the
This is
Wizard
a
of
weird
Oz.
filter. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my other note. So my other note is this is weird Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
yeah.
although the
I had a
arc
note
is-
like that, like / Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's that
to
archetypal story.
Just to kind of like confirm that you guys aren't crazy for saying that. I've never seen Wizard of Oz, and I looked at Ron like midway through the movie. I was like, I have no basis for saying this, but is this just kind of Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
How did you
She's
think
going and
that?
finding. Well, she was going and like finding her way through this maze or
Picking
whatever,
up friends along the way.
and
Yeah.
finding friends along the
Ludo.
Yeah.
A villain pops in every so often.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Although in David Bowie's case, it was.
You got Swiper.
Yeah, well, and David Bowie is the Wicked Witch and the man behind the curtain
Oh.
in this
Well,
movie.
technically, Sarah is.
Sarah's the man behind the
I don't know
curtain?
what you guys
Or the
Because it's
Wicked
all
Witch?
her story.
I guess. But isn't Bowie pulling all the strings? Like
But she's pulling Bowie's strings.
she is pulling Bowie's strings.
Right?
What?
You're right, because it's
All in her head.
it's all in
all
her
her
head.
narrative. So she's the
Um,
mastermind behind all of it.
Yeah.
So
She's the man behind the curtain.
she's
and
the man
Dorothy.
behind the curtain. Yeah.
And
What a
Bowie is the Wicked
self-centered
Witch.
Nerd.
This egomaniacal brat.
This conversation will make sense to me once I watch Wizard of Oz, huh?
Yep.
Yes.
Maybe.
One of our dogs is named after the Wicked Witch.
Elfie Bean.
So, they go through a labyrinth. I don't remember all the set pieces, but they go through a labyrinth, and the best part of the movie is Ludo. That dude's awesome.
How about the
100%.
fact that they kept saying life's not fair? The whole
The
movie.
They said
whole
that a
movie.
lot.
And I just feel
Yeah.
like as a kid, that's all we heard growing up was life's not fair. And I was like, this whole movie was just
Uh-huh.
beating kids over the head with like, life's not fair. Life's not fair. And I was like, we
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get
That
it.
not taking things for granted. That was the other thing they
Yes.
said like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the...
I guess we're supposed
is
to
it-
But it's her
learn a
coming of
lesson.
age story, so she's got to learn these things.
Was
and
the
this is
taking
how
things for
she's
granted the
doing it.
line they kept saying about the labyrinth, or was it like
Yeah, you
everything's
can't-
not as
yeah.
it seems, or
Yeah,
whatever?
you can't take it for granted.
You can't take it for granted. So like, I liked the illusion of her walking through the wall after the worm thing. Like
That was cool, yeah.
she turned, and I was like, oh, because I was wondering
But
if they were
also-
gonna do like, in Indiana Jones, what's the third one called?
The Kingdom of the Temple of Doom.
Temple? No, that's the
No.
second one. Raiders? No, that's the first
That's
one.
the first.
That's the first.
Last Crusade.
Last Crusade.
Everybody exhale. In Last Crusade, when he's doing the puzzles and he throws the sand over the invisible bridge, I thought it was going to be like one of those. Like she was just going to walk through the wall.
I just,
Oh, yeah, and have like a woo 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 kind of 80s effect on it,
Yeah.
I was gonna say a lot of the effects like that seem like they really hold up still.
Yeah, well, they're practical.
Yeah.
Practical effects don't age negatively because
Yeah.
they're practical. They look just as...
Like that's a practical effect right there.
Yeah, Nick's earthquake is a practical...
wow.
The practical effects look just as
Sorry,
crappy
guys.
What is
the day
happening
of.
this episode? We're getting burns and shakes and
Yeah, this is the episode where we're getting tested.
the labyrinth is Where's Bowie?
It's David Bowie. Dance, magic, dance.
And Al's about to fly into the room.
Yeah. Shitty owl just comes and we're like, that's the first one. It's fine because it's the first one. Wow. Man, that owl. It's got to have a first.
Can we
Can we what?
can we talk about how when she first started going through the labyrinth, it was just a straight shot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the second she finds the invisible wall, it was magically this giant maze that was completely different.
Well, don't take anything for
That one-
granted.
Yeah.
Like, I guess
Didn't
is
you
the
learn
canon
anything from the
explanation.
movie?
It
No.
bothered me.
Yeah, I guess I kind of.
Well, because it's like she has to learn that first time not to take it for granted, so she can enter the actual maze, or else the first test is like she can't go anywhere. She thinks it's a straight line, but it's not.
Yeah.
So
I
like once she
guess.
learns that, then she's able to that's the first lesson.
But I thought it was going in the direction that Nick probably thought it was going, which is where it goes like 30 minutes later when she's trying to, Hansel and Gretel her breadcrumb path through the thing and then realizes she's lost.
Yeah.
That's where I thought we were going to go immediately.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going the right way. But then everyone in the labyrinth is like, like even the worm is like, oh, you wouldn't have wanted to go left. That's directly to the castle or whatever.
I'm just a worm. That guy was great.
That guy was awesome. A lot of good characters, I think. Like Ludo.
Ludo was great.
Ludo was great. Smell.
Smell. It's so good. Smell bad. It's so good.
He's the best,
Did
man.
you guys
Dude
notice
can
when
just
they
summon
were
rocks.
what he summoned the rocks where the bridge was? The bridge collapsed.
Yeah.
And then he had the rocks come up. And when he would step on them, they made a fart noise every time.
The
Yeah.
farts made me laugh so hard, and I was like, I'm a child, but I know Mark
smell.
Norman does it all the time too, and he's a comedy legend,
smells.
so
Yeah.
I'm in good company. Yeah,
God, I
so
just
funny. The farts are great.
you know the
It's
more
like, "Burp, burp, burp, burp."
the more we're talking about it, the more positive feelings I'm having towards it. I think as
Really?
as I process it, I think.
Interesting.
I liked it. I watched the first time I watched it. I was like, "Ooh, this is a little tough. Like, why
Yeah.
would Bowie do this?" And the more I watched it, I was like, "This was a great choice on Bowie's part. Like, this is a great movie. Like, it's fun. It's campy. It's like a good guilty pleasure '80s watch." I don't know. I think it holds up with the effects and everything like that. I thought the set design was really insane. Like, it feels like you're in some magic land. Like the way they had everything kind of built out. It feels big and like immersive.
It felt like
I
a big
thought,
maze.
but- Yeah.
I don't know if it
Until
was a
for
great.
whatever reason, I was just gonna say it felt that way until for whatever reason there was one scene where it was very clearly a green screen.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the
Oh,
dancing
yeah.
guys
When
that
it-
took off their heads.
The red characters, on the heads.
Oh
came
my
off.
god, that was the
was
worst
the
part.
one time where I was like, "This is
Why?
rough."
Why all of a sudden are we in front of a green screen?
Well, to do
Maybe
the
it's
heads
because the
thing-
heads were coming
And
off.
you could see like they had to do it that way.
Well, they
I'm sure,
puppeted
but-
the mouths still when the heads were like flying, and there would have been no way to do that. So they probably had the heads still.
True.
Yeah.
And here we need to.
I wish
It
I knew
also
more
added
about.
nothing to the story, so it didn't have to be in there, and it kind of took away from it a little
Yeah.
bit. I was just like, okay, but
I wish I knew
Dog
more
sitting on
about
the
how
headphones.
the puppets worked. Because I'm pretty sure it takes multiple people
Yes,
to operate a single character.
I mean it's multiple
you got
people.
like a person with the face and then a couple people with the hands. Like
Yeah, it's normally like there's an extra person for an extra hand or whatever. But yeah, it probably depended on the puppet. So I know
there's
Frank
there's got to be some
Oz.
kind of documentary about it or something.
Frank Oz was
Definitely.
one of the puppets, but I
Almost
don't
certainly.
remember which one. Unfortunately, I looked up the
I
name.
don't think he was any of the main ones. I looked it
No.
up too because I was like, what did he do? I thought he was maybe Hoggle's voice, but he wasn't that either.
No, he wasn't
so-
that either. I think he was one of the ones like more towards the Goblin Horde part of the movie, like later on. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one or when. That part was kind of fun. I liked the switch between the real dog and the puppet dog. I thought that was funny. It's like whenever there's a running scene, it was clearly a real dog, like with the
Yeah.
bridge guy on its back.
Yeah.
And then whenever they needed to puppet the bridge guy up close, was a fake dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
and I'm almost certain that there was a bark when they were at the swamp or whatever. I'm fairly certain it was a human being.
Just a
making
guy
bark sound.
like barking.
I'm like, why could you have not mic'd the dog?
Yeah, just get a dog
It
barking,
was-
please. I don't know. The ending was interesting. The way that they did like the mirror shot or whatever, like when she's back in her room. I like the false room scene too.
That was cool. Yeah, I thought we were
Yeah.
out, and then
yeah.
they
So
pulled
she
me back
eats.
in.
She eats the peach that Hoggle gives her. Hoggle and Bowie's character Jareth have like a couple scenes in the film where Bowie's trying to get Hoggle to like screw over.
Well, he
Sarah?
first wants him to like take her back to the beginning,
Yeah,
and then the second time he wants Hoggle to give her a peach so she'll forget
yeah.
where
but
like her quest.
and like Hoggle,
Which is
keeps-
interesting because an apple is supposed to be information or knowledge, right? And the peach is supposed to make her forget.
Yeah,
So that's interesting. I don't know. Peach isn't really.
It doesn't-
What I heard is a peach is for fertility. Is what
Gotcha.
it represents. So I don't. I was
Well,
like,
I mean,
oh,
That's
okay.
darker.
Jareth
That's
was
a
a little
darker theory.
creepy.
Yeah, a little
So-
dicey, but
yeah.
it is a coming of age story. So
I mean,
Eh.
16.
You don't know what the
40s,
age of consent in the
40
labyrinth
something.
is. So no,
I
but
mean-
and there's the duality that Hoggle's struggling
time is
with.
different here.
Yeah, of like, Sarah keeps bribing Hoggle, and like steals his jewelry or gives him a plastic bracelet, and he's like plastic, and it was hilarious. But Bowie's trying to get just as Hoggle's like coming around to Sarah, Jareth is trying harder and harder to like, threatening Hoggle with the pit of eternal stench. If he doesn't like
The
help.
bog.
Bog of eternal stench.
Yeah.
Sorry, if he doesn't help him screw over Sarah, so that because she's got a time limit. She's got 13 hours to get to the kid. So that culminates in Jareth giving Hoggle the peach, and she eats the peach is gonna make her forget everything. She eats the peach and ends up in a junkyard somehow.
I think she eats the peach and then she goes to the ballroom.
Oh,
She like has a
jumps
vision.
out of the ball.
I thought that was a vision.
Yeah.
So
That was a
so
vision.
the ballroom. I felt like the ballroom because right before it goes to that scene, it cuts to David Bowie, whatever his character's name is. Jareth, with the he's twirling the crystal balls
Yeah,
or
he's
whatever.
got these
in his
crystal
hand.
balls, and he's so
So
cool.
for me, that scene took place inside of that ball.
Oh.
Because when she breaks the ball with a chair, and you see this warped fisheye perspective
Yeah.
from the inside out.
What did he say the balls were? Like, look into it, and you
It's like
see
your dreams.
your
and
dreams.
things.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe it was a dream thing, but if it was a dream or whatever, how the heck did she end up in that junkyard area? That's what I don't.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is
Junkyard.
I
her
guess you're right.
imagination, so
You're
it
right.
doesn't really.
You're right.
But it's a fantasy journey. But yeah,
I don't know. She
Um,
was running away from stuff the whole movie, and maybe she just ran.
Yeah,
I feel
but
like she was running away from the fire people at some point.
yeah, and then she, at any rate, she comes to, in that trash place, with the lady puppet with all the crap on her back, and leads her into the room. That's her room.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was actually her room. I'm like, oh, she woke up and the baby's still gone or whatever. But she opens the door and it's just back to the junkyard area. I thought that was one of my not favorite parts of the movie, but I enjoyed that whole sequence.
it's like a false awakening
Well, it's
almost.
cool
Yeah.
because
oh,
the lady, the creature in the junkyard, was trying to get her to forget why she was there.
Right.
Trying to get her to forget
All
about
you
her
need is in
brother.
here. And she was bringing her her favorite toys and
She was
everything.
Yeah.
stacking, but she was stacking
the stuff that
everything
she
on
threw
her back.
such a hissy fit over before is now she doesn't even care about
She
it.
was stacking everything on her back, and the lady had a bunch
Trying
of
to,
crap on her back
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
It was almost like she was trying to make her one of the creatures and
Yeah.
make her
Yeah.
permanently there too.
Yeah. If you look in that scene, there's a bunch of people like that in that little field. They're all stuck there with
Gotcha.
their stuff on them. So yeah, it's
Maybe it wasn't even a junkyard.
make you want to go minimalist.
Is it like a commentary on emotional baggage to try to forget a real problem, or
It's not.
Or
that
I'm
deep.
still really jacked up over Citizen Kane, and I'm looking for things like that.
yeah, it's not that deep. I don't know. I like that part. That part seemed like if you were a kid, you'd be the most confused by, and that was my favorite. That was my favorite. That was a good part of the movie, I thought.
I don't even remember it.
And then the other yeah, you kept
you
looking
checked
at me
your
like
phone.
junkyard.
I'm like, what junkyard? What? I still nothing.
The
Blank.
other part I liked was the end, right? So she gets to the castle and she's looking for Jareth because she's really low on time. And the stairway room or whatever.
That was great.
Bowie's
I
upside
loved
down
that.
on the stairs and just on a different plane as her for the whole thing. And that was so cool.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that part.
I appreciate that we didn't have to go through another battle. It was just kind of chasing the stairs, but Jareth didn't fight. He was just kind of there, get your brother. Oh, he's over there.
Yeah.
There wasn't any
While
drawn out.
also being this is what you asked for. We're just
Yeah.
doing what you asked for.
Yep.
So it's there's a couple lessons, I guess, of be careful what you wish for. Not everything is as it seems. And then, what was the other one?
Don't take anything for
Don't
granted.
take anything for granted.
Well, that is the what it
And
is. It
what
what it
was the
seems.
other
fair.
one? Life's not fair.
Life's not fair,
Thank
yeah.
you. So those are the three things we were supposed to learn. Life's not fair. Be careful what you wish for. Don't take anything for granted.
Yep.
I learned those three things. How about you guys?
Yeah. And I had fun too.
You know what we're not going to take for granted? Open your Bibles. Life can be like a labyrinth.
Oh boy, you just got southern.
Let's do star ratings for the Star whatever that album is called, not Starboy.
Ziggy Star
Starboy.
The
ratings.
Ziggy
Do we have
Star
nothing else
ratings.
to talk about with this?
I don't know. Does anybody else have anything
don't
before we move on?
So-
I know it's been kind of short.
So
but
one thing.
is a kids movie. This dog keeps laying on the headphone wire and making me not be able to hear. So that's what we're messing with.
Oh no.
Okay, go
Effie,
ahead.
you can't lay on the wires.
You know what? Never mind. I'll talk about it when I get to my rating.
All right,
We're good. I'm
Carly, you
good.
got anything?
It's mostly just like an incoherent string of sentences as I was like watching it in real time.
We did
Maybe it'll be a good story or something.
I did hate
Oh,
at the end where like the whole resolution with Jareth was all she had to do was look him in the eye and go, "You have no power over me."
Yeah.
And
that
then
was
it
her
over.
realizing though.
But like that's the line
Yeah.
she couldn't remember. She couldn't remember.
It felt a
"You
little
have no power
anticlimactic.
over me."
Well, it was
It's the mental battle. Like the whole time she's
But
against
what-
herself, really, because
It's
Jareth is
not
like
that
her.
deep.
it is though.
No, it's not.
It is, yeah.
No.
Every like the challenges are all pretty interesting. I don't know.
I mean, it was a
I liked it.
it's a growing story. We're
I'm
learning.
looking
She's
at-
learning about herself and her to not take her situation for granted, including her not evil stepmother.
Well, I do think it was interesting how her stepmother was like, "No matter what I say, she hates me." As she's telling her to do something she doesn't want to do. It's not like her stepmother was there like, "Love you, sweetie. Good night. I hate you." It was like, "I'm
Yeah.
telling you to do something," and she's like, "Why doesn't she like me?"
Yeah.
As I'm forcing you to babysit when you don't want to do. I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
read the room.
but they never
lady.
get to go out.
You got every other day. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Let's do
I
Star.
want you to go on date.
Carl, I'm looking at your notes.
Or the bog of
What your
stink.
very
We can
last
talk
note
about that.
says? Your very last note says an owl flies off to give a wizard a letter. I don't remember what.
Well,
you're
there
talking
was the
about.
final shot of that
it's-
owl,
yeah.
and it
It
looked
starts
so
and
bad.
ends.
I mean, is
Yeah,
that a
it starts with the
Harry Potter-
digital owl. It ends with a real owl, and then he just flies off.
To give a
into
wizard a letter.
I figured he was probably on his way to deliver a letter to Harry
to
Potter or
Harry
something.
Potter?
Yeah. Harry Potter
Yeah.
and Labyrinth are obviously in the same universe.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I did mention
Magic,
Harry Potter when I saw the
goblins.
stairs. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of Harry Potter.
Well, Hoggle, his day job is working at that bank.
They said Hogwarts in the movie.
They did say Hogwarts. In the
Really?
movie.
I wondered because this was pre Harry Potter, and I was just like,
Well,
Where she got
Hogwarts
it from
is a
that.
term. All of the
oh, is it?
Slytherin and Hogwarts, those are all real
Well, Hogwarts
British
is
words.
the name of the school.
I thought
Yeah,
she
but
was
it's also
clever.
a real thing.
Oh,
Like they're real
Mm.
words.
interesting.
I don't remember what it means, but it's a real thing. I'm looking it up though.
See
Hogwarts.
if I had any more notes.
What is the meaning?
Where
of-
the books weren't out at this point.
I think they came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
Mm.
I thought they came out like early 2000s.
That's when the movies came out. I want to say they were
Oh.
like 95.
Yeah.
Well, the word Hogwarts has been just completely eclipsed
be-
by Harry Potter.
I
so.
could be totally wrong, but
Oh my god. Okay, I did have one point when he's doing the he was doing the dance magic dance.
Yeah.
And at the end he just like fucking throws a baby up 12 feet and catches it. I was like, David,
Yeah, well-
I can throw a baby.
And it's
What
like-
are you doing?
It's like clearly
Even
a
with movie
doll,
magic.
but it also
Yeah.
like doesn't
Yeah.
move that much, so it could have been
Yeah.
a baby. I had the same.
Yeah,
thought.
it
Like,
happened,
man.
and I was like, Jesus! I was like, had a flinch moment. I was like, oh my god! I almost jumped out of my skin.
I'm a
I was just like,
magic
don't
man.
throw
I
a
can
baby
get
that
away.
high.
Imagine watching this movie when you're like 5 or 6 or even 10 years old, and that just feels more scary and real.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god. Like there's probably a lot of scenes in this movie. It was fun talking to Ron about it, where it's like, as a kid, this movie was kind of terrifying. He was like the
Oh, yeah.
guys with the heads
Yeah.
that popped off.
Oh,
were the
yeah.
bad
They were,
guys.
like,
He was like,
chasing her
that
down.
scared the crap out
Yeah.
of me. Yeah.
I would.
that is kind of because that is dark,
but
but the tone is so light. Oh, sorry, Danielle. What were you
I
saying?
was just saying I would have been scared of this movie as a kid.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, it's
It's
interesting because he is funny magic wizard man singing funny songs with his funny hair, but he also kidnapped a kid.
and he wants to turn him into a goblin.
at the request of someone though.
yeah, you're right. But
And
once
she asked for it.
she
Yeah.
asked for it, Labyrinth :
She
she asked for it.
Real.
I mean, yeah, but she
You
had
guys
that.
are all not on Sarah's side.
No, because she
didn't
had
know.
indignation when she, like, it is her fault. She learned from it, so she has a full character arc, which is positive. It ends
Yeah.
positive. But at the beginning, she's horrible.
I mean, I hated my sister too for a while.
Exactly. And then you gave her away to David Bowie. No, just,
My sister's a goblin, you guys.
yeah.
She's gone.
Um, she's dance magic dancing.
She's just
Dance magic dance. I get that
Dance
song.
Magic Dance.
Earworm, bro. That is the
It's
one
been in my head all
song
week.
that really clinged to me from the movie.
That's sticking in my head. I liked the ballroom song the most. I think though, because
You
it
go
was
back
more
and
like
listen to that one.
yeah.
We didn't really talk about the bog of stench very much.
Well, we did a little bit. The farts.
How gross it was. It was like a lake of buttholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lake of like prolapsed buttholes.
Yeah.
It just quivered with.
Pretty
With
gross.
farting. It was
So-
pretty graphic. Yeah.
Oh
Gross.
my god.
Oh.
Such juvenile humor, but I laughed so yeah. Like when the little dog guy was running across it, was like
Ew.
"Burp, burp, 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 burp," little fart, like 12 fart, like really fast farts. I like fell out of my chair. I was laughing so hard. And the other scene where he was like, what was he, a squirrel? That guy
Something like
Who
that.
knows?
with the eye patch,
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon or whatever.
Sort of rat squirrel.
He was when he was at the door and they all had the swords at me. He's like, "Oh, had enough, eh?" Like,
Yeah,
just
I
totally
love that.
clueless. That was my favorite.
Total optimism.
He has no grip on
It was like-
reality
it was
whatsoever.
worth a shot.
Yeah, yeah. Had enough, eh?
What was he? He wasn't a raccoon.
I thought he was a squirrel on a dog. Like, so it was like the
Yeah, because he was
it
near
was
a
like
tree.
He was a little. He kind of felt like a fox to me.
Okay.
What he was.
Kind
He's
of
too small to
reminded
be a
me
fox.
Of the creature from not Harry Potter. Oh my gosh, Star Wars. Salacious B. Crumb.
Okay.
That
Mm.
sits on Jabba the Hutt's shoulder.
Okay.
That's who.
Yeah,
they
I can see
reminded me
that
of.
too.
And
They got the same kind of voice.
there's Lucasfilm
Yeah.
involved, so
Frank Oz involved.
yeah.
Yep.
It's like maybe there's a little crossover.
He's
Maybe.
a fox.
He's a fox.
He's a fox and a knight.
Ugh, I thought it was a squirrel.
I got squirrel vibes too. Man.
Because he's tiny and he was yippy, so I figured he was kind of.
Well,
It's kind of
foxes are
annoying.
chattery.
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't
They
met
lo-
too many foxes.
They laugh. They're weird.
yeah.
They're
The
cool.
tail too. I should have.
I
It
want
wasn't a squirrel
fox.
tail.
Let's buy a fox. Let's rate this movie.
They're so cute.
Who wants to start? A genuine.
start.
All right, Nick starts.
Nick wants to go.
So this movie was. I thought I hated it at first. Then I was like pretty sure I hated it. Then I started to kind of get into it, and I was like, all right, maybe this is fine. And then I hated the ending. It was
Yeah.
quite the roller coaster. A word I wrote down at the end of the movie, just one single word, was unique. It was unique.
Yeah.
It was.
Not
Memorable.
saying it's good or bad, but it was unique.
We spent 10 minutes
but-
talking about how it's Wizard of Oz. It was unique. No.
Aw. We did.
No, I still think though, for a kids movie, I think you're spot on. I didn't see anything. I'd never seen anything
The
like that as a
settings were
kid.
very different
Yeah.
than the Wizard of Oz. So
What was really cool afterwards, and I'm glad none of you talked about it because I want to be the one to tell you. We finished the movie again. I watched it with my brother-in-law. We finished it, and then he rewound all the way to the beginning and was like, "Check this out." And the very
Oh.
beginning of the movie, there's a scene where she's in her room, and it pans across like a bunch of books and a bunch of stuff on her desk. And they're like stuffed animal versions of every character in this movie.
No way.
So the fox is there. There's like a statue of David Bowie's character that I can never remember his name.
Cherith. Is that when they do like
There's a picture hanging over her bed of the stairs
Mm-hmm.
no
at the end of the
way.
movie.
Huh.
Yeah,
Like
it's really good.
everything you see in this movie, there's a representation of it at the very beginning.
That's awesome.
And there's like pictures or like magazine clippings of her mom who's like in a Broadway show or something of her and David Bowie in the pictures.
oh.
So
That's
it's
the
like
thing.
David
That-
Bowie was like a character that her mom maybe like did a play with or something.
that gives more
That's what I had to get
fuel-
research for.
That gives more fuel
'Cause-
to
So-
the it's all in her head thing. Because every
Yeah.
image that she
It 100%
conjures then
is.
Yeah.
something from her room. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I had to look
And
that up in
that-
the reviews. Because like when they were talking about like that her mom was an actress, I didn't get that until I watched the
No.
reviews about it, and I was like, oh, so that's why she's
And
like
there-
so.
And at the end of the movie, she's like taking all the clippings down because she's like, "Oh, I got to grow up," kind of thing. So I ended the movie thinking like, "Well, was that in her head? Was it real? Was it some kind of like magic thing that she somehow like encountered?" And I hated not really knowing what it was, like if the whole thing was real or not at the end of the movie.
Hmm.
But when we went back and watched the beginning, I was like, "Oh yeah, it was all in her head.
Yeah.
It had to have been."
Yeah, I kind of left with the ambiguity. So that's good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same
I
thing with
hate-
Groundhog Day.
I hate whenever it's not a clear, like clean cut ending.
Huh.
Even if I don't like it, I want a very clean ending.
Yeah.
Couple other notes I wrote down. Thought it felt like a storybook. Like it felt like something you'd be read to when you're going to sleep or
Yep.
getting put to sleep as a kid. And then Wizard of Oz ish is another thing I wrote down. So it was cool. I was kind of all over the place and liking it and not liking it and not liking that I was starting to like it, if that makes sense.
Yep. Sure.
But at the end of the day, this movie is still only going to get 2 stars out of me.
Yep.
Ooh, wow.
Danielle, why don't you go next?
Okay. Where do I begin? It's gonna be a 1 for me.
Okay.
I didn't really expect to like it going in, and I didn't really like it. But shout out to Jennifer Connelly for being able to act surrounded by a bunch of crazy puppet people. She
True.
did a great job, I thought, which is the
What else is she in that you had seen?
Oh, she's in some like rom-coms.
Okay.
In the early 2000s, probably other stuff.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was weird. I didn't like the music. The 80s is not my vibe. I mean, David Bowie's character I think is creepy because he's like wanting to mac on Sarah, who's a child.
Yeah.
Not a great look. The Bog of Eternal Stench is disgusting.
That's hilarious.
It's gross. I
That
want to
was
watch
one
a
of the
bunch
best
of
parts.
farts. Ew. Gross.
Parts are funny.
Farts.
Yeah.
I mean,
Y'all think
That's
other
actually
animals
funny.
think farts are funny or just people?
Probably just people.
our dogs are
Okay.
scared of them.
Yeah.
Mm,
They don't like
that's
them
a
at all.
shame.
They're scared of their own farts too.
They
So
are
1
scared
star
of
for
their
you.
farts. 1 star for me. I don't want to watch it again. I didn't hate it again as much as I hated Gangs of New York, but yeah, it's gonna be a 1.
Carl.
So I guess I'm maybe the only one that really liked it.
Oh boy.
Carl, you haven't not liked any movie on this list.
That's not true.
I didn't love.
Everything's been rated a 3 or above,
He didn't love
Well,
Singing in the Rain,
yeah,
but he still gave it a 3.
but he still gave it a 3.
yeah, but I enjoyed parts of it. Like I didn't hate it.
Yeah, we
like I
haven't-
haven't hated any movie yet.
Right.
If I hated it, I'd give it a 1 or a 2. But like so far, they've all been decent. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought the set design was really great. I thought the world, not world building, but the way they were able to bring you into that world is really good. And holds up. I thought the transitions were great. The story was unique in the way it was told. They don't give you the evil stepmother. She's actually a good stepmother, and the kid's kind of evil. So it's kind of subversive in that way, which is fun. I thought all the kind of challenges were interesting for her to kind of, go through the coming of age story. The first time I watched it, it definitely did get the creepy vibes with Bowie because I was just like, he is so old and she's so young. And then I like even had like written down like, why would Bowie want to do this? And then watching it a few more times, I kind of came to terms with that. Like, this isn't Bowie wanting to marry her. This is her wanting Bowie to want her because she wants what her mom wants, which is this superstar guy, like rock star who her mom dates or whatever. And she wants her mom back. So she wants what her mom has. So that's where I kind of came to terms with it. I was like, it's more of just her, learning that, okay, I thought I wanted this. I don't need this. And actually, I'm just going to be happy with the family I've got. And I thought the life lessons were good. And it's just a fun and funny, entertaining tale. Watched it a few times and it didn't get old. My favorite, just remember the other line when she starts the whole thing and she just goes, "Come on, feet." Like, what a great way to start a journey. Like,
That's pretty good.
Oh my
Well,
God. So,
come on, feet.
and it's it's just so over the top 80s that I think I also just kind of love the nostalgia of it for a time I was never alive in. But I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Okay.
I think the way they did it, I thought the characters were really well done for being puppets. Like, there's really just 2 people in this movie for the most part, and it doesn't feel like
Characterless.
weird. It feels good still. But yeah, I think 3.5 feels.
Can't believe you're
Nice.
ranking this higher than Singing in the Rain.
He
If
really
there had
did.
been
He's not
as
a
much
musical guy.
singing to acting, the ratio in Singing in the Rain as there was in this one, it would have been perfect. I would have given it like a 4.5. But yeah.
Man.
All right, I'll close it out. I think realizing, especially now that I know like all the characters are stuffed animals and whatever, and there's that parody there, knowing that it's all in her head concretely kind of, I think, bumps the story up for me a little bit. I didn't really, I don't like kids movies that I haven't watched as a kid, if that makes sense. So it's probably not a bold stance as a grown adult man. But this didn't have some of the same, like the difference you can feel as a kid between watching like a Disney movie and then watching like a non-Disney movie, like what's that Fievel Goes West movie?
Yes.
Versus like watching A Bug's Life.
Right.
And how Fievel just feels like darker and weirder,
grittier.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of like Labyrinth to me is more on that side of the rescuers or whatever. Like
that was Disney.
That was Disney, but it had a similar feeling to me, opposed to like. And those are all older, as opposed to the mid to late 90s stuff that I grew up with. Right. Your Toy Stories and stuff that we mentioned.
Lion King.
So this was more in that other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which makes sense. It's in the 80s, so which is when a lot of that stuff was around.
A dark time. For cinema.
What is that? What Quentin Tarantino said the 80s were awful for movies. I think that's the decade he pointed out. Maybe not.
I think so.
So I didn't really get I hate to go, the Disney magic, but Well,
there is something to say for the Disney magic. It's a thing.
So I didn't love it because of that. I thought staring at Bowie's genitals for the whole movie was hilarious, but it sucks that it has to be hilarious. That, I think the Dance Magic Dance song is hysterical, and I'm going to be singing that for the rest of time.
Yeah, it's going to be in my head forever because he won't let it die. It's fine. Everything's fine. I
want to listen to those episodes of Harmontown for sure, which is just going to plunge me into another listen through of Harmontown, and I'm not ready for that. I'm going to give it a 2.
2.
It's between 2 and 2.5 for me, and I think I'm going to give it a 2. I think I'm going to give it a 2. I didn't hate it. I don't think it's terrible. It's definitely not 1. But if we're looking at a 5-star rating where 3 is average, this was below average enjoyment for me. So it has to shift down the scale to a 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think that's where I'm at. I didn't come out of it going, I wasted an hour and 43 minutes of my day. But I definitely wasn't like, I'm so glad I watched that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. I know.
So I don't know. 2. I enjoyed it enough. But without that nostalgia factor to draw on, it's just not my jam. It's not my jam.
Yep.
Maybe people will feel the same way about, people do feel the same way. Like when I was a kid, I loved the prequel trilogy. To talk about Star Wars for the millionth time. People are older than me hate that shit. And I think it's awesome. I love The Phantom Menace. And I'll die on that hill. So maybe
episode 2 is still tough to get through.
It's tough, man.
And but episode 1 and 3 are both great.
That was my favorite one when I was a teenager because it's the first one I saw in theaters. I was only 4 when Phantom Menace came out, and I was 7 or 8 in 2002 when I guess 7 when Attack of the Clones came out. And my dad took me and my brother to see it. And I remember just especially at the end, Yoda flipping around. I was like, oh my God.
That was cool. Yeah.
So that one holds a special, but the dialogue in that is so bad.
I hate saying it.
It's pretty rough.
That one, no, the worst one is the fireplace scene with him and Padme. And he's like, we'd be living a lie. And so terrible.
I could live like that.
Could you?
She's all dolled up, too. It's like, why would you dress like that and tell him
her boobs are the most squished.
It's great. Great movie. 10 out of 10. Anyway, I digress. Let's pull a movie. All I want is The Godfather. Do you hear me, Bucket? You pulled last time and we got Labyrinth.
Don't trust me.
Ooh, I want 2001: Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah. Nick, what do you want?
I want to go modern.
Truman Show.
Ooh, I could do that.
I forgot that was in here. I have a ticket. I've got a greenish ticket.
Or Muppets.
Muppets would be good.
He's happy.
Oh, I've always wanted to see this movie.
Tell us.
And I've never seen it. We are going to watch The Matrix next. I have never, obviously I've never seen it. It's in the bucket.
We're going from 80s to 90s.
Yeah, we get to look at some horrible sunglasses.
It's like, the most 90s movie I can think of. Oh, man.
I have seen The Matrix.
So
Has anybody else?
I've
Yeah,
seen
but it's
it,
been a
but I
while.
only remember bits and pieces.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one who
It'll
hasn't.
feel fresh for me.
Yeah.
I know I've seen parts on television. Your dad just puts movies on it when it's on cable or whatever. That's my experience. Is I've seen parts of it. I know the red pill, blue pill malarkey, but I literally don't know what it's about.
Honestly, it kind of the premise is sad.
Of course, I do know that. Like, it's a dystopia kind of
it's a dystopian
thing.
movie.
Only the first one is in here, and I've had questions about that from people, because I guess some of the other ones are okay too. But I don't know. I just put the first one in.
Well, there's a new one too, a fourth one, and I wanted to watch that, but I was like, I don't really want to. But I might just tear through all 4 this week.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch The Matrix. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Who's the actor?
Keanu Reeves.
I don't know if
Keanu.
I've seen a Keanu Reeves
Maybe.
film. This might be my first one.
Another big name.
Another big name. If you want to watch Labyrinth, you have like a week, which means this is coming out on
They'll have 3
Tuesday.
days.
So they'll have like 3 days, because I think it leaves Netflix on the 30th. Nick is gone. I'm going to wrap up the show, though. Thanks for watching. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Like us on all of the things.
The tube.
Subscribe to the podcast. And we'll see you next week when we talk about The Matrix. And we'll catch you all in the next one.